Today we proclaim that America will never be a socialist or communist country.
We have been generationally fed the idea that America and the values the American people accept are completely opposed to socialism, Marxism, and communism. But is this McCarthyite dogma any true? Hey everyone, I am Carlos Garrido, a philosophy professor, director at the Midwestern Marx Institute, and a researcher of American socialism. I'm here to tell you that socialism is deeply embedded in America's identity. It was in America where the first modern utopian socialist communities would arise, based on the ideas of Robert Owens, Saint-Simon, and Charles Fourier. These American experiments in a higher form of communal democracy would be appreciated, learned from, and also critiqued by Marx and Engels, the founders of modern scientific socialism. But it wasn't just them who noticed the limitations of the utopian approach. In America itself, a wide variety of thinkers in the 1820s and 30s saw the similar limitations to utopianism as Marx and Engels. Workers and scholars like Thomas Skidmore, Langdon Billsby, Cornelius Blatchley, William McClure, and many others would come to realize how a socialist society can only be constructed out of the class struggles already present in our society. A society that they urged we have to study scientifically in order to understand the way forward. So, more than 20 years before Marx and Engels would write their seminal text on modern scientific socialism, American thinkers were approximating the same ideas. For these Americans, socialism was not a foreign ideology that they sought to impose on their compatriots. On the complete contrary, these Americans saw socialism as the logical and practical conclusion of a genuine commitment to the democratic creed of 1776. 4 decades after, we would witness an America enthralled in civil war, with the North hoping to contain the Cotton Kingdom in the South and its aspirations to become a cotton empire that would expand slavery westward and south. This war would be won on the part of the North, as the legendary American theorist W.B. Du Bois comments, because of the black proletariat, that is, the enslaved black worker of the U.S. South. The black worker literally performed a general strike. They fled to enemy lines in the North, cutting completely the productive base of the Southern war economy and aiding the North with a renewed base of laborers, soldiers, and capable spies that knew the Southern terrain. After this great workers' revolution, the Southern states would come under the command of the Freedmen's Bureau. This was basically an organization of black workers who used the armed forces of the North in order to establish what Du Bois called a dictatorship of the proletariat in the U.S. South. So, a form of socialism in the U.S. South. This was the period of Reconstruction. It lasted almost 10 years and it gave us most of the prominent HBCUs that we have today. This great workers' revolution would be overthrown in 1876, when the North would betray Southern white and black workers and allow the previous racist owning class to just reign free. It was the period of Jim Crow, apartheid, where lynching was the order of the day. It was a return to a condition of semi-slavery for the black workers of the U.S. South. After almost a century of struggles, this counter-revolution would be overthrown by the Civil Rights Revolution of the 1960s, spearheaded, of course, by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a socialist in his own right. Once the barriers that segregated white and black workers were lifted, Dr. King understood that we had entered a new higher stage of the class struggle, where the reality that the Communist Party had long ago started fighting for, embodied in the slogan "Black and White Unite and Fight," was something that was readily at hand and possible, at least at a scale much broader than ever before. This political revolution, which overthrew the American apartheid state, creates the conditions that we have today, where opportunities for a multiracial working class struggle are more fertile than ever. But besides this long history of militant class struggles, any student of the greatest minds in American history can clearly see in the ideas of Jefferson, Paine, Douglass, Du Bois, Dr. King, John Dewey, Charles Sanders Peirce, Henry David Thoreau, Emerson, that is, in the ideas of the leading scholars and politicians and activists in American history, that throughout all of them we find very clear anti-capitalist sentiments and sometimes even explicitly a commitment to the construction of socialism, not as something foreign that is imposed upon Americans, but as something that is, again, the logical and practical conclusions of the values that we already claim to accept as Americans. So no, socialism is not foreign to America. America can only fulfill Lincoln's promise of government of, by, and for the people when power is stripped from the hands of big corporations, investment firms, and banks and given to the people, or better yet, taken by the people. This state of affairs would constitute socialism, a society that serves society itself, where the interests of capital are not what is held as supreme. For human life, people, society, our traditions, our cultures, use value is put over and above the interest of the profiteers and accumulators of capital. Right now, what we have is government of, by, and for the very decrepit capitalist elite. What we need is that which Americans already want and believe in: government of, by, and for the people. This has another name for it. It's socialism. If you want to learn more about socialist history and how we can develop a unique form of American Marxism, consider picking up my newest book, Why We Need American Marxism, where I do precisely that.